Thank you for joining us today on Pack 14 as we share information to prepare you for emergencies here in Wicomico County. This is our show from the Wicomico County Department of Emergency Services called Prepare Wicomico, again graciously hosted by Pack 14. Today we have Dietz, who's one of our communication operators in our 911 center, and we're going to share a lot of great information about 911, what to do when you call 911, and some of the activities and outreach that we do with our 911 center personnel. Monica, thank you for joining us today on the show.
Hi.
Monica, let's tell our viewers what should they expect when they call 911. Just give them an overview of how you're going to answer the phone and some of the initial questions that they're going to be asked when they call 911.
Okay. When you initially call 911, the very first question you're going to hear is Wicomico 911, do you need police, fire, ambulance? This is to help us figure out how we need to route your call. Once you've kind of let us know what direction to take the call, then we're going to ask more questions, such as, what's the address of the emergency? What's the phone number you're calling from? We also ask for a name just for our records, and it's not to necessarily contact you again for any reason. It's just for record-keeping purposes. If you're calling for the police, we're going to be transferring that call out to one of our 6 different police agencies in the county. That's why you're going to hear us really trying to narrow down an address, and that's the importance of the address, because there are 6 different agencies. If you're calling for fire or EMS, we're going to ask you questions from our EMD or our EFD program. That program, it helps guide us with our question taking so that we can get you the right amount of help as quickly as possible.
Okay, and EMD is Emergency Medical Dispatch, and EFD is Emergency Fire Dispatch.
Right.
And that's a nationwide program that all the operators that you've been to a class and all of our operators complete. So tell us a little bit about that class when you go to that class.
When we go to that class, if you don't have a background in emergency services, the class helps us with differentiating between calls. So if you were to call us and tell us that somebody had abdominal pain, we're not going to ask you questions that you would ask somebody who has chest pain. We have to be able to differentiate so that we can get the right help there. We don't need to send a fire truck if someone is having trouble breathing necessarily, unless they're in a lot of trouble. And our questioning is going to help us determine whether that extra help would be needed.
Okay, great. And we want to make sure the caller stays on the line with you, doesn't hang up until the operator completes the call and initiates the hang up. So there's also things that you could do that you're going to give some directions, correct?
Absolutely. When we have callers that are having chest pain, if they're over the age of 16 and they fall in the right criteria, we're going to guide callers into giving aspirin so that we can get help started prior to the paramedics getting there. Our medical director for the county has given us permission to do that. If somebody's not breathing, we're going to be giving you CPR instructions. For burn, we'll tell you how to cool that burn. We want to help you until EMS can arrive so that you're not necessarily causing any further harm, but you're helping them in the meantime.
And sometimes callers get a little upset with you and get confused, but you've already got help on the way. So explain how that works with the teamwork in the 911 center.
Absolutely. Callers definitely do get upset with us for the questions we ask. We aren't asking these questions to slow down the help. We're asking the questions so we can make sure we're getting you the right amount of help as quickly as possible. When a call comes in, the person you're talking to is not the person coming to you. We're asking you questions while our partner is dispatching for the fire department or an ambulance. They see what we see on another computer. Once we have enough information to get help started, our partners are starting them. Yelling at us really doesn't help at all. It can actually slow things down. If the caller's cooperative and they answer the questions we have, it's going to take you less than 2 minutes on the phone with us. When you argue or yell and don't want to answer the questions, it can extend the call out significantly longer. And we want to get you help fast. That's why we try to just ask the questions and get through it. We can get off the phone with you in 2 minutes or less.
That's great, and that's what the public needs to understand, is these questions are to benefit them, benefit the person who needs help, and very important that we explain to the public they stay on the line with you the whole time. So if that's a take-home point to the public, please stay on the line with these 911 operators. They've been through a lot of training, and they want you to stay on the line to answer the questions, and it could be for your safety. They're also going to give directions. If a house is on fire, you're also going to give safety key
Oh,
points.
absolutely, absolutely.
So if somebody calls 911 and does not talk to us and hangs up calls by accident, what should they do?
If you call 911 and you hang up by accident, we're going to call you back. It's actually a procedure that we call every single 911 hang-up call back. We prefer that if you've dialed it and you realize it really fast, just stay on the line. Let us know when we pick up, I'm sorry, it was an accident, I didn't mean to call. Saves you time, saves us time. Like I said, we have to call back every single hang-up call.
Wonderful. And that's, again, we know it happens. They have 911 open lines. They hear the cash register in the background beeping. They know they're in the line at Walmart. So again, important take-home point is please stay on the line for these operators so they don't have to take the time to call you back. It's very important for the safety of everybody here in Wicomico County. Let's tell the callers what would happen if they call with a cell phone and they're in Delaware, but they accidentally get Wicomico 911. What would you do then?
We're going to get the address of the emergency and then we'll transfer it to the agency that should be fielding their call. So it happens a lot with our Delmar callers because we have Delmar, Maryland and Delmar, Delaware, and oftentimes it's going to come in off the closest tower to them. So we'll just ask for your address, your phone number, just in case we get disconnected, and you may be asked really briefly what the emergency is. This is only in case we get disconnected. That way we can let Sussex County know they have a call at a certain address and here's the information that we have. Otherwise, it's just going to be transferred. It's a one push button transfer and we'll get you to the right agency.
Great. And again, the important point, just to remind you, if you call 911 by accident, please stay on the line. If you call one of these calls that Monica has explained to us that she needs to transfer you, or one of the communication operators need to transfer you, you're going to hear some clicks and some beeps, but stay on the line. They'll let you know when you can hang up, or they'll tell you to go ahead and speak to the next person on the line. So any other tips you think we should tell the viewers about 911?
Yelling at your operator and speakerphone. It makes it very difficult for us to hear and understand you. We all understand that it's probably the worst day of your life if you're having to call 911 or you're just having a really bad day. Try your best to stay calm. The calmer you are, the calmer that the person you're trying to help is going to be, and the quicker we can get you help.
Okay, great. Some great tips from Monica, who works in our communication center. So hopefully you've learned from those tips today, and you can learn more when you call 911. You can look at our website. That's wicomicocounty.org/ES. That gives you some tips on what to do when you call 911. Welcome back to Prepare Wicomico, where today we're talking about 911, what to do when you call 911, and we're going to talk a little bit about our public outreach program. As a reminder, you can go to wicomicocounty.org/ES and look at all the topics that we can come out. We have a speakers bureau. Many people from our 911 center, our emergency management, our radio division, or our administration can come out and talk to your groups about the various topics, whether it's 911 or emergency preparedness here in Wicomico County. Today, Monica is going to tell us a little bit about a program that started a few years ago, and she coordinates this. And you go out, Monica, and talk to the second graders in all our schools.
I do. We offer 911 education to every second grader in Wicomico County. Some of the schools, it doesn't fit into their calendar year, unfortunately, but we do try to get as many second graders as possible. This is called our 911 Junior Dispatch Program. We set up with the schools to go in, and I'm lucky enough to go into the classroom, and I have a video that they watch called Cell Phone Sally. It's a very brief description of 911, what to expect, and what constitutes an emergency and what doesn't.
And do they have an opportunity to interact with you, 911, and you simulate some calls?
We don't do call simulation because, unfortunately, technology for call simulation hasn't caught up to where we're at. The simulators that are out there are basic old household phones. They're not cell phones, and most of our kids now, that's what they're going to be using. But we do go over how to open the cell phones in an emergency. So when the second graders are coming home and asking mom and dad, hey, you won't give me your passcode, but show me that emergency button, it's because we've told them to. We go over how to unlock it, with the emergency button, how to actually dial, and then what to expect when they call. I give them an example of scenarios that they may have and what they're going to hear on the other end, so that when we do have those emergencies at home, if they're the ones that need to call, that they're not scared to call and interact with us.
Okay, that's great. And you've been doing, how long have you been doing this program?
This is my 4th year.
Great. And now you're getting ready to have a great opportunity to share this with the entire nation.
Yes, I received information from Navigator, which is a conference for internationally for EMDs and EFDs, as well as police dispatchers. They send a thing out every year saying, hey, if anybody wants to be a speaker, please submit your ideas. So I submitted, thinking never in a million years when I hear back from them, but I did. So April the 23rd, I fly out to Las Vegas to be a presenter at National Conference.
That's great. And that's just some of the things we do in Department of Emergency Services in Wicomico County for you, the residents. And it's great that this program has been recognized, and Monica's going to take the opportunity to go out and share this wonderful program, not only nationally, but as she said, internationally, with the emergency medical dispatchers, the emergency fire dispatchers, emergency police dispatchers, all over the country, all over the world. So again, we're proud of that program. It does prepare our young adults, our second graders, to, as Monica said, to use those cell phones and to not panic and know what to do in calling 911. So you have some information
I do.
that you hand out to them?
When we go into the classroom, one of the things that we really reinforce as well is learning their addresses. I have to be mean, Miss Monica, every now and then. By second grade, these kids should know their addresses. There's kids in second grade who have their own cell phones. So if you're old enough to have your own cell phone, you need to know your address. And I really do reinforce that. We assign homework to the parents if the kids don't know their addresses. They receive a card in a packet from us of goodies. And on the card, the parent and the child can go over their address, put it here on the card, their phone number and cell phone numbers for whoever they live with. We push the issue that if you don't know it, put it on your refrigerator. Every time you go get ice cream, read your address. If you have an emergency and you need to call 911, if you know your letters and numbers, you can tell us your address from the card. You could simply say 411 PINE for 411 Pine Street. It's just a quick, easy way for them to learn it and have access to their location in an emergency if they're scared. And then we also have a what you need to know about children in 911 pamphlet that goes home, so that the parents understand what they have learned that day. So when the kids really start telling them that they know more about 911 than mom and dad do, that mom and dad are looking at this going, okay, maybe they do know more than I do. Because a lot of the information we give, people don't know it. So the kids are coming home, they have this information, which is great because they're sharing and getting our public education out to other people as well.
That's great. It's a great program, and that'll lead us into our next segment. After we take a break, we're going to come back and talk about the 911 VIP program.
Thanks, that's great.
And we'll be right back. Welcome back on Pack 14 to Prepare Wicomico as we continue our 911 program today to share information about how to call 911, what our 911 center does. And we want to conclude our episode today by talking about our 911 VIP program. Monica is going to explain to us a program that started that recognized our young adults for exceptional cooperation when they call 911 to our Wicomico County 911 Center.
Right. We started the 911 VIP program kind of as a branch off of our second grade 911 education. When kids are dialing 911, it's not the same as an adult calling. We realize that, especially 13 and under, you might as well take the stress and triple it. They're scared, they're in a situation that they don't know what to do, and when they call 911 and they provide us with the correct address, their phone number, their name, they're able to answer questions that we're asking. We're asking them the same questions as we're asking an adult that calls, because it's still the same resources we're going to need to send in those emergencies. We wanted to make them feel special and make them realize that what they did wasn't just calling for help. As a kid calling 911, when we're asking them if a person is awake and if they're breathing, it's not as obvious sometimes to them as it would be to you or I. So we're going to break it down to their level, but we're still asking the same questions, like I said. When they can provide us what we need, we're so proud of them as dispatchers because we're able to get help, and because of them, someone's life may have been saved. And we want them to realize how important that was, that they called us and took care of the emergency and they didn't get scared. We've had kids call for someone having chest pain. I took a 5-year-old calling recently. She knew her address, she knew her phone number, and all the information. So she was able to talk when her mom couldn't. We've had children help with delivering babies in the past. That stuff, you have adults that don't want to help with that, let alone, a 5, 6, 7-year-old. So we really want to recognize them and bring them together just to show our appreciation.
Right, and that's great that we do that, and we give them a certificate. And what else do we give them?
They get a medal that's going to state that they're one of our 911 VIPs. They get a certificate of appreciation from our department. Our county executive also does a proclamation for them, and we have cake and some drinks, and just they get to meet the dispatcher that they talk to, and we bring them up in front of everyone there that night and go over what they did and really celebrate, how they made a difference in somebody's life.
And we've even invited the people who they've helped, correct?
Absolutely.
So they get an opportunity to also meet that person that may be a stranger to them, might not only be a family member.
Yep. If we have access to that information of who they helped, then yes, we're going to invite them. We may not, but if we have the access, we absolutely invite them. We also invite the fire department or EMS providers that were involved in the situation as well.
Great. And something new that we added last year, PAC 14 is now broadcasting the show live.
It's neat to be able to let the public know that we're celebrating them as well.
And viewers, we thank you for watching us. We thank PAC 14 for the partnership with Prepare Wicomico show by the Whatcom County Department of Emergency Services. And again, please tune in. Line on PAC 14, watch the archives as we share information to help you be more prepared here in Wicomico County, Maryland.